All praises, all praises, all praises to the heavenly, holy, almighty creator of infinity, eternity, the universe, and all there is. Hello, family. This is Revelations.Unveiled. Detroit. Welcome back to another edition of the Action of Distraction. And family, today we will be reviewing a reading of an article by Wayne Drash and Brian Vitigliano of CNN. And so, in light of all of the recent highly public events of the mass shootings, those in the California area of the Garlic Festival, the El Paso, Texas massacre, as well as the Dayton, Ohio shooting, and the copycat wannabe mass shooters who are following this story and are gaining the, courage or developing their personal manifestos so they can come out and become public nuisances, become disorderly, create terrorism on the American shores. And while those events are now prevailing in our public headlines, let us also keep in mind of the various allegations of sexual impropriety, sexual deviancy, sexual molestations and rapes from our high-powered stars and producers in Hollywood to financiers to our beloved public figures, from the Weinsteins and the Epsteins and the Cosbys and the Kellys and the Jacksons. Well, family, we must always be aware and keep in mind that there is a tidal wave, a tsunami of sexual deviancy, of sexual trafficking within our society. It is covered up. It is pushed under the rug. It is not forced upon public view for public examination and evaluation. Well, today, in line with the ongoing Catholic Church conspiracy of pedophilia, homosexuality, and sexual abuse of children, not only by the priest, but by the nuns, we will also have a review of another large public organization who is beset by the same allegations of perversion, of sodomy, of the satanic, systematic abuse of young men. And we must take into account how this spirit that was injected into these young ones is now contributing to the society of this ongoing unveiling of the agenda of homosexuality and transgenderism and sexual confusion and gender identity confusion. And so, family, we shall begin here at Revelations.Unveiled. Detroit with the article, "The Boy Scouts Refer 120 Allegations of Sex Abuse to Law Enforcement." And this article is dated Tuesday, August 6th, 2019. The Boy Scouts of America on Tuesday said it has referred about 120 allegations of abuse by Scout leaders to law enforcement for further investigation, saying it believes victims that the youth organization is working to identify additional alleged perpetrators. So, family, the Boy Scouts of America have turned over 120 allegations of abuse and are looking for additional perpetrators of this abuse. "We care deeply about all victims of abuse and sincerely apologize to anyone who was harmed during their time in scouting," the youth organization said in a written statement. "We believe victims. We support them. We pay for counseling by a provider of their choice, and we encourage them to come forward. The Boy Scouts issued the statement a day after a lawsuit was filed in Pennsylvania accusing a Scout leader in the state of committing unspeakable acts of sexual abuse against a boy during overnight camping trips and day excursions. The abuse included hundreds of instances of fondling, hundreds of incidents of oral sexual assault, and repeated attempts of anal penetration, according to the suit. And it should be noted that Pennsylvania is also the state that has filed suit against the Catholic Church for its many hundreds of pedophile priests. The Boy Scouts defendants' conduct was an outrageous violation of societal norms and went so far beyond all possible bounds of decency as to be regarded as atrocious and utterly intolerable in a civilized community, the suit says. So family, that was a very indicative statement. The SODOMITE, the sexual abuse of oral assault and repeated attempts of anal penetration are regarded as atrocious and utterly intolerable in a civilized community. We must understand that homosexuality falls under, it is against the bounds of possible decency in a civilized community. These allegations were made by a now 57-year-old man identified only as SD. The suit also alleged the assistant scoutmaster actively groomed young boys under his charge for later sexual molestation. The accuser said he would be plied with drugs and alcohol before being abused, including acts of sodomy. The suit went on to say the Scout leader utilized physical, emotional, and spiritual force and persuasion to impose his moral will upon the then minor SD in order to commit grievous, unspeakable acts of sexual abuse. The abuse began sometime in approximately 1974 or 1975 and continuing until approximately 1979 or 80, according to the suit. The accuser being represented by Abused in Scouting, a group of 3 law firms that came together to shed light on abuse within the Boy Scouts. The group said it has been contacted by around 800 men over the last 6 months with credible allegations of abuse by Scout leaders, and it has identified about 350 Scout leaders not contained in the so-called perversion files, a black list of alleged molesters within the organization, first identified in 2012 by the Los Angeles Times. So family, the Los Angeles Times exposed a black list of molesters in the Scout organization called the Perversion Files. How far does this hole go? Abused in Scouting said it provided the Boy Scouts with a spreadsheet of its list of alleged abusers a couple of months ago. The group said it would like to know more details about what the Boy Scouts shared with police and if arrests have been made. We welcome transparency with the Boy Scouts, Abused in Scouting told CNN. If you're hunting down pedophiles, that's relevant. Show us what you're doing. The tip of the iceberg. At a news conference in Washington, D.C. earlier Tuesday, Tim Kosnoff, an attorney with Abused in Scouting, described the Boy Scouts as the largest pedophile ring on earth. He said he had pored over more than 6,200 files pertaining to alleged abuse and was shocked by what was contained in those documents. Kosnoff told CNN's sister network HLN that the extent of the abuse is staggering. The important thing here to know is that 800 represent just the tip of the iceberg, Kosnoff said. It is really overwhelming. The suit was filed Monday in Philadelphia's Court of Common Pleas and named the Boy Scouts of America, the Penn Mountains Council, and SD's alleged abuser. CNN is not naming the person at this time. He has not yet been charged with any crime. The suit said the Boy Scouts knew for decades that sexual predators of boys had infiltrated Scouting and that the organization did little to stop the abuse. In its statement to CNN, the Boy Scouts said they have taken the allegation leveled by abuse in Scouting extremely seriously, including reaching out to local law enforcement agencies after being provided spreadsheets with the names of alleged abusers. Our efforts have already resulted in approximately 120 reports to the lead law enforcement agency in each state with an accusation of abuse. We have also contacted local law enforcement for all cases in which enough information was provided to identify the correct agency, the organization said. The Boy Scouts added, "We are continuing to manually search paper records at the local level to see if we can identify more information about the additional alleged perpetrators identified in the plaintiff's attorney list. As we identify sufficient information, we will immediately notify law enforcement." Included with the statement was an email dated on June 24 from the Boy Scouts lead attorney to abused in Scouting. "Nothing is more important than the safety of our youth in these programs, and we take allegations of abuse extremely seriously," wrote Stephen McGowan, the general counsel for the Boy Scouts. "If we determine that an incident you describe involves a known perpetrator listed in our volunteer screening database or identifiable individual not currently listed in the VSD, then we will send the information you provided with information we have to law enforcement." So the Boy Scouts are now in full damage control mode, family. Abused in Scouting responded Tuesday by saying they would like to know more about what the Boy Scouts sent to police. "We demand proof of the contacts you've made. Show us being the public, the work you claim you've made," Abused in Scouting said. The lawsuit filed Monday alleged the abuse started when the accuser was about 12 or 13 years old. The Scout leader, the suit says, enticed, induced, directed, coerced, and forced SD to engage in deviant sexual acts with him. The Boy Scouts of America has been rocked by allegations of sex abuse in recent years. Earlier this year, newly exposed court testimony revealed the youth organization believed more than 7,800 of its former leaders were involved in sexually abusing children over the course of 72 years. About 2,800 more leaders than previously known publicly. Kosnoff, with Abuse in Scouting, said Tuesday he believed the abuse is far higher and that he's determined to expose it. "They are the true hidden predators in our communities," he said. Woo, family. So the Boy Scouts of America is going through some issues over the course of 72 years. It was believed more than 7,800 leaders in the organization were sexually abusing children. That is a program. That is a culture. That is an agenda. That is a mode of operation. Brothers and sisters out here on these American shores who have exposed your children to Scouting, the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, please talk with your young ones. Find out what they have seen, what they heard, what they may have engaged in. There is a prevailing, deviant, wicked, satanic, pedophile, homosexual agenda that is swallowing up the innocence of our society, and it is cloaked in these organized religions and offices where our children congregate. They are being plied, they are being seduced, enticed, induced, coerced, and directed and given drugs to participate in these deviant acts of sodomy. now as this spirit of destruction is set before us for our conscious consideration, let us continue to pray most humbly, solidly, and consistently, so that we may be delivered from the demonic forces that beset us upon all sides as we travel in our carnal containers within this continent of confusion. So now on notice for the organized sexual perversion and participation within the public sphere is the Catholic Church system, in addition to the Boy Scouts of America. Let us be diligent. Let us be direct. Let us continue on our path of righteousness. Let us persevere, endure, so that we may overcome. And family, we shall continue to review our carnal existence through the lens of our spiritual expressions. And until we are together again, I love you. I love you. I love you. This is Revelations.Unveiled. Detroit.